Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Today is a very happy day, as of course is every day that Allah gets a new convert. And certainly, he works in mysterious ways clearly, because I never would have expected this man to be saying the Shahada. But our friend Vaush, the libertarian socialist, has finally found faith in something other than communism. This conversion came in the most unlikely of places. He was doing a live response to a recent talk Sargon had given, in which he was mostly just reading off statistics from a website called the Library of Hate Facts, and commenting on them. And, of course, as we all know, Vaush has a very massive brain. He is just so intelligent. He knows all the science and the studies, so he proudly decided to do a live debunking with virtually no preparation.
So, normally I don't watch anything of the video before jumping into it on stream because the argument is always, these people are so stupid, I don't need any preparation. But out of curiosity, I did skip through this a little bit. I just click, middle of the video, 3/4 through the video, see what's up. And I actually get the grift.
Wow, that truly was generous of Vaush. He was willing to spend a whole few minutes of preparing by skipping through Sargon's 20-minute speech. But, as he said, Sargon is just so dumb, and Vaush is of course just so smart, that he doesn't need more than a few minutes of research to destroy him. The first group of statistics that Sargon decided to read off were on Arabs and Islam, and this is of course what is relevant for today's discussion. Most of the stats that Sargon discussed are on support for violence within the Muslim world, along with support for some other bad practices. Sargon opened up with this stat.
87% of Egyptians, when polled, agreed with Al-Qaeda's goals.
Vaush responded by saying that you can't trust stats from right-wingers because they may be presenting them in a misleading fashion. And then he went on to say that even if the stats were true... Wait, no. This can't be right. He didn't say that, did he?
I'll say it. There are legit reasons to support Al-Qaeda. Do you have any idea how the Middle East has been over the past 70 years by Western imperialism?
Hold up. Vaush, calm down. I know you're excited about your new religion, but this isn't the way to go about it. Now, I know what you're thinking. This must be out of context, or a joke, or really poor phrasing. You can watch the video for yourself, link in the description, if you want the full context. But, in short, nope. This isn't a joke. This isn't out of context. He goes on to say,
you guys know that this is completely correct, okay? Over here in America, if we had been subject to even 1/100th of the imperialism that the Middle East has, we would be like, there would be like a presidential candidate running on nuking the rest of the world. 9/11 happened, so we killed 2.4 million Iraqi people. There are legitimate reasons if you live in the Middle East to think like, yeah, fuck it, yeah. Absolutely, yeah, fuck America. Anything to defend us against those people. Now, do I agree with that position necessarily? Well, I don't know. Political violence is wrong. What are you going to say? All I'm saying is, like, we literally have mainstream American movies about if we were invaded by terrorists or North Korea or whatever, we would all form insurgency cells and start engaging in acts of terrorism to defend ourselves. We glorify the idea of engaging in defensive terrorism over here in the States. So I don't know, but the only difference is nothing has ever happened to America that is anywhere near as proportionally devastating as what we've done to Iran or Afghanistan or Iraq.
Okay, let's analyze what exactly Imam Vaush is saying there, because at first glance you might think, hey, he's just empathizing with them. He's just trying to show that he can understand why people might make morally wrong decisions. But nope. That's not what he's saying. After outlining how awful American imperialism is, and saying that many could come to the conclusion, yeah, anything to defend us against those people, he continues and says,
now, do I agree with that position necessarily? Well, I don't know. Political violence is wrong. What are you going to say?
Now, I'm not totally sure, but the way he says, political violence is wrong, what you going to say? The inflection in his voice, as he says that, sounds a lot to me like he's trying to say, yeah, it's okay.
Well, I don't know. Political violence is wrong. What are you going to say?
I don't know. I'm no expert. But it seems like to me he's trying to imply something there. Something pretty bad. But I'm no expert. I'm not going to base my argument off of the tone of his voice. So we can assume I'm wrong there. Doesn't really make a difference to my overall point. Because what does he say right before saying that political violence is wrong? Let's look very closely.
Absolutely, yeah, America. Anything to defend us against those people. Now, do I agree with that position necessarily? Well, I don't know. Political violence is wrong. What are you going to say?
Do I agree with that position necessarily? I don't know. Vaush is specifically referring to Al-Qaeda here, just so we're clear on that. And he just doesn't know. Political violence is wrong, but American imperialism is also bad.
Now, do I agree with that position necessarily?
Vaush is just so smart. His brain is just so big. But even he just doesn't know. Does he agree to anything to fight imperialism? Vaush, this is really simple. Killing civilians is wrong. But American imperialism, no, Vaush, no. Two wrongs don't make a right. Didn't your mom ever tell you that? Intentionally killing civilians is not okay, Vaush. But, come on, let's go even deeper. Let's see how this communist is comparing things. Let's see how he's equivocating. Let's see what he compares Al-Qaeda to.
We glorify the idea of engaging in defensive terrorism over here in the States. I'll say it, there are legit reasons to support Al-Qaeda, defensive terrorism. There are legit reasons to support Al-Qaeda, defensive Al-Qaeda, defensive Al-Qaeda.
Brah. Al-Qaeda. Let's go over this slowly. Al-Qaeda is not known for their defensive terrorism. Al-Qaeda flew planes into buildings. He isn't talking about Islamic extremism in general. In this section of the video, it is in response to a statistic specifically about Al-Qaeda. This section started with Sargon giving a stat on Egyptian support for that organization's goals. Vaush said that there are legit reasons to support them. He talked about Western imperialism, and then he equated Al-Qaeda with defensive terrorism. When he says Americans glorify defensive terrorism, presumably he's referring to Red Dawn and stuff like that, though honestly I've never watched that movie. But having done a quick read of the Wikipedia summary, I didn't notice anything about the protagonists murdering any civilians, and if that did happen, I somewhat doubt that it was portrayed positively in that movie. But hey, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched it, and perhaps our humble film expert Vaush here just knows it better than me. Now, let's be absolutely clear about what Al-Qaeda is all about, because the way that he's portraying it, you might think that they're just guerrilla warriors, blowing up military caravans and fighting soldiers. Now, beyond the famous attacks that were obviously nothing like that, let's look at the official fatwa that bin Laden, along with some of his allies, issued in 1998. It said, "The ruling to kill Americans and their allies, civilians and military, is an individual duty for every Muslim who can do it in any country in which it is possible to do it, in order to liberate the mosque in Jerusalem and the holy mosque in Mecca from their grip, and in order for their armies to move out of all of the lands of Islam, defeated and unable to threaten any Muslim. This is in accordance with the words of Almighty Allah, and fight the pagans altogether as they fight you altogether, and fight them until there is no more tumult or oppression, and there prevail justice and faith in Allah." Killing Americans, civilian and military, is a duty, according to bin Laden. Civilian. Vaush. This is not the Wolverines. This is not bombing supply lines. This is not defensive terrorism. This is real life, Vaush.
Al-Qaeda, defensive.
And a few minutes later in the video, he continues.
But no, seriously, most of them, it is most of them, disagree that terror attacks on civilians are wrong, which is good. 85% of Egyptians at the highest, 60% of Pakistanis at the lowest. That means 40 of them are not sure. Like 40 of them are like, well, maybe attacks on civilians.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unironically, again, if you've been subjected to the same shit that people in the Middle East have, yeah, unquestionably. Is it going to surprise you guys that I generally support Hamas as well?
Unquestionably? Unquestionably what exactly, Vaush? Are you saying that supporting attacks against civilians, specifically, in that quote that Sargon just read out, it specifically said civilians, is unquestionably something to be not sure about? Something to consider? And Hamas, Vaush? You generally support Hamas? Before with Al Qaeda, there was some degree of plausible deniability, but he's just coming out and saying it now. Hamas regularly engages in direct attacks against civilians. They have blown up buses and hotels. They employ suicide attacks. I'm not saying that this means America and Israel is good, but Vaush, two wrongs do not make a right. You know that you don't have to generally support Hamas to be pro-Palestinian, right? You know that there are other Palestinian political factions that don't blow up buses with children on them, right? It should be really clear now. Vaush is evil. He isn't practicing empathy to understand why people would do bad things. He's just a bad person. These are not okay opinions to hold. If you think this is out of context, please watch the whole video. I have a link in the description with where this part starts, or you can even start from the very beginning. Close to the end, he makes it even clearer that none of this is a joke, none of this is him edgelording, because after criticizing Sargon for using the comedian defense, he says,
Everything that I say and stand by, I support holistically. There's no arguments I make that I then back off and say, "Oh man, I'm just just joking."
as he says, he stands by what he says. This is not a joke, this is what Vaush actually believes. This is your brain on communism. It alone is enough to make you a bad person. I can understand why someone in a bad position, like those Vaush described, would do bad things, while still fully condemning those bad things. But Vaush, he isn't evil because something bad happened to him. He's evil because of his ideology. He gets off on claiming that he's just this big-brain libertarian socialist. He claims that he isn't like Stalin. He wouldn't do all those bad things that were done in the USSR. But it should be pretty clear at this point how quickly it takes for that mask to come straight off. I'm sure his disavowal of Stalin is sincere, and I'm also sure that a Vaush socialist republic would be just as awful in totally different ways. Because this is what communism makes you into. You love humanity in the abstract, but you hate people, and anything is justifiable to meet the ends that you desire. Thank you everyone very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and most importantly, please share this video with anyone who you think might find it interesting. Please do share this video if you can. Growing on YouTube isn't easy, so posting it to Twitter, Discord, or wherever really does help me out. Also, this Saturday on this channel, I'll be having a live stream discussion with fellow YouTubers Benedict the 17th, Fritz Imperial, and Charlemagne. We'll be talking about the role of religion in building a new narrative for the future and politics. It will be 9 p.m. EST. I hope I'll see you all there. Thank you everyone again, and goodbye.